The movie opens with Dave, a husband and father of twins, being jolted awake by his babies crying in the other room. He gets up to change their diapers, but the task is far from easy. One squirts milk powder in his face, while the other poops directly on him. Despite the chaos, Dave pushes through, then takes the twins to the living room and sits with them on the couch as they drink their milk. Later that morning, on his way to work, Dave gets a call from his best friend Mitch. The two haven't seen each other much since Dave became busy with work and parenting. While they talk, we see Mitch lounging in his messy, stoner-style apartment, decorated like a teenager's room. Mitch reminds Dave of their plans for that evening, which Dave had completely forgotten, though he pretends otherwise. Their call is cut short when Mitch's father shows up. Disappointed in Mitch, he tells him that he's getting remarried next Friday. That night, Mitch arrives at Dave's house to pick him up. He spends a moment with the twins, but assumes something must be wrong with them since they don't talk yet. Later, at the bar, the two friends watch a baseball game, toss back shots and catch up. Dave asks about Mitch's dating life, and Mitch talks about a woman named Tatiana who only treats him like a casual hookup. The conversation makes Dave question whether he settled too early into marriage, kids, and a 9-to-5 job. Mitch, on the other hand, admits he envies Dave's stability and the love he gets to come home to every night. At the park, standing side by side peeing, each confesses that he wishes he had the other's life. Suddenly, the lights flicker out, plunging everything into darkness as if a blackout has hit. The next morning, Mitch wakes to the sound of a baby crying. When he looks over, he sees Dave's wife, naked, breastfeeding one of the twins. Horrified, Mitch jumps up, convinced he slept with her, but when he checks the mirror, he realizes he's Dave. Meanwhile, Dave wakes up in Mitch's apartment, now in Mitch's body. When Mitch shows up at the door in Dave's body, Dave panics and tries to choke him, thinking it's all just a nightmare. But once he sees himself in the mirror, the truth sinks in, and both freak out. They piece it together. The wish they made at the fountain caused the switch. Rushing back to undo it, they find the fountain under restoration, meaning they're stuck like this for now. That day, Mitch, as Dave, heads to Dave's law office for a big, career-defining meeting. Already late, he squeezes into the packed conference room and gets bombarded with complex legal questions. Completely unprepared, he fumbles every answer and tanks the meeting. Meanwhile, Dave, as Mitch, shows up on set for Mitch's new acting gig, only to discover it's a porno shoot. Mortified, he tries to improvise his way through it, but just as things couldn't get worse, another actor joins the scene. Later, Mitch picks up Dave's daughter Cara from ballet practice and sees her being pushed by another girl. On the drive home, she explains she didn't fight back because her dad always told her to use words instead of fists. Mitch, unimpressed, tells her to forget that. Next time, she should hit back 10 times harder and always use violence to solve her problems. That night, Mitch and Dave regroup, swapping horror stories about how disastrously their days went. Desperate, they decide to come clean to Jamie, Dave's wife, but their attempt backfires badly when Dave brings up a private bedroom detail to prove who he is. Jamie assumes Mitch has been gossiping about their sex life. Furious, she storms off, leaving them worse off than before. That night, Dave gets a call from Tatiana saying she's on her way over. Resigned, he decides to just go through with it, but when she arrives and takes off her coat, he's stunned. She's pregnant. Completely thrown off, Dave freezes and Tatiana storms out, convinced he's suddenly not into her anymore. Meanwhile, Mitch, stuck in Dave's body, experiences the less glamorous side of marriage. After watching Jamie casually use the bathroom right in front of him, he gets shaken awake at 3 a.m. because it's his turn to feed the twins. Panicking, he calls Dave for instructions, but follows them far too literally, turning the feeding session into a slapstick disaster that leaves the babies drenched in milk. The next day, Dave searches high and low for the fountain but comes up empty. When he heads home to update Mitch, he finds Jamie crying. She admits she feels neglected, that Dave doesn't give her enough attention, and she often feels alone. Dave is blindsided by this confession, realizing he hadn't noticed her pain. Determined to make things right, he urges Mitch to step up in his place and begins coaching him on how to be Dave. Later at work, Mitch, posing as Dave, gets a call from Mitch's father, who invites him to lunch. During the meal, his dad asks him to convince Mitch to give a speech at his upcoming wedding, admitting he struggles to express his feelings directly. He also confesses he sees Mitch as a quitter, someone who never finishes what he starts, and wishes he'd do more with his life. The conversation lights a fire in Mitch. He doesn't want to live down to that image. Motivated, Mitch starts stepping into the role of responsible family man. He shows up to work on time, handles groceries, and takes the family seriously. That evening, he joins Jamie at Kara's ballet recital. When the same girl from earlier tries to shove Kara again, Kara flips the script and tackles her in front of the whole audience. Mitch leaps to his feet, proudly clapping and shouting, "That's my girl." That night, he spends time with Jamie, and when intimacy comes up, he finds himself unable to perform. Jamie reassures him that it's fine, and he falls asleep in her arms, comforted. Meanwhile, Dave, enjoying Mitch's carefree bachelor lifestyle, wakes up the next morning at 6:45, realizes he has zero responsibilities, and happily goes back to sleep. He spends the day living it up, catching a movie, cooking for himself, going on a walk, trying go-karting, and even visiting an aquarium, soaking in the freedom he never had as a husband and father. That night, Dave ends up on a date with Sabrina, a woman from his office he's secretly admired for years. Mitch, thinking he's doing Dave a favor, set it up. Only problem is, Dave's still married. At the restaurant, Sabrina admits she only agreed to the date because her boss asked her to, and she doesn't want to risk her job. Dave suggests they just leave, but Sabrina shrugs and says she's already there and hungry, so they might as well stay. Over dinner, the two actually connect and start enjoying themselves. By the end of the night, Sabrina suggests doing something they'll regret in the morning, so they get tattoos together. When Dave walks her home, she asks him to call her, despite insisting earlier it wasn't really a date. The next day, while Dave is out skating, he gets a call. The fountain has been found. He rushes to tell Mitch, who's also been notified, but instead of racing to switch back, they hesitate. Both have just started to settle into their borrowed lives. They decide to hold off a little longer. That evening, Jamie waits for Dave, really Mitch, to show up for a date, but he completely forgets, too buried in work. The following day, Dave goes on another outing with Sabrina, this time at her suggestion. They catch a baseball game together, and the sparks keep flying. Meanwhile, Mitch heads into the crucial meeting he's been preparing for and successfully sells the company. That night, things come to a head. After the game, Sabrina invites Dave home and makes it clear she's ready to sleep with him. At the same time, Mitch is at a company event where he's being honored as the firm's top lawyer. As his boss praises Dave's achievements, Mitch realizes it's wrong. He's living someone else's life. Dave also comes to his senses when Sabrina reminds him of his daughter, snapping him back to reality. He bolts, racing to City Hall, where Jamie is. He kisses her passionately, proving to her at last that their story about being switched was true. Together, Dave and Mitch return to the fountain to undo everything, only to discover it's now sitting in the middle of a crowded shopping mall. In front of everyone, Mitch and Dave pee into the fountain and say together, "I wish I could get my life back." The lights flicker out once more, and both men vanish. The next morning, they wake up in their own bodies again. Dave reconciles with his wife, assuring her that she and the kids mean everything to him, before stepping up to care for the twins and Kara. Meanwhile, Mitch wakes to find Sabrina at his door, apologizing for being too forward the night before. He brushes it off, joking that he probably came across a little strange himself, and the two head out for breakfast. Later, Mitch stands proudly as best man at his father's wedding. A month passes, and we join Dave and Jamie at their anniversary party. Mitch is now happily with Sabrina, and Dave's marriage is stronger than ever. Sharing a quiet moment, Dave admits he misses his old anatomy just a little. Mitch laughs, telling him it'd be stranger if he didn't.
And that's the end of the story. I hope you liked it. Comment down below what movies do you like us to recap next. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Until next time.